So hello, my name is Elīna, and my topic will be today ensuring compliance with the European Accessibility Act and best practices in accessibility testing. But basically, I will share some insights from our TestDevLab research. We did also research for 4 companies, telco companies in Baltics. So yeah, it will be second part of my presentation. So a bit about myself. I am accessibility testing department lead. We have separated department for accessibility testing. We are 10 people, and those people are working and are testing accessibility on daily basis. So and sometimes some people who are doing functional testing and were pressed sometimes to do accessibility testing in their projects. They are accessibility testing for like every day for all the time they are working or what. So I'm also a lecturer at TestDevLab school, At our TestDevLab school, we have a separate company. We are doing lectures, not only about accessibility, about automation, about different types of testings. So, and I'm also a lecturer in Daugavpils University, and I have 12 years of experience plus of experience in IT. So if you want to find me, so you can email me, or you can also visit our accessibility page, so you can find a bit more about accessibility testing, what we are doing, audits, testing, consultations. So yeah. And about accessibility, what is it, why it's needed, and why we have separate department for accessibility testing itself. So, and accordingly to World Health Organization, 1.3 billion people live with some kind of disability. And it means that 1 in 6 people experience significant disability. We need also to remember that we have like visual impairment, physical impairment, but also there are situational disability and temporary disability. Situational, when you are like somewhere where sun is shining and you can't read this text, and most probably you will hear some information. And temporary disability, when you broke your arm and you can't basically use your mouse, and you are going to press the stop button and to observe a web page, so basically, or some product. So, and source like from European Commission information, we know that 52% of people with disabilities, they feel discriminated. So accessibility testing and all this topic is about also discrimination. And speaking with some potential clients or people from different organizations who are providing some products, they say that, but our product is not designed for people with disabilities. But how do you know? There is moment when discrimination starts, basically. So how do you know? Like maybe there will be mother holding her baby, and she's trying to operate with this content. This is also situational disability. So you never know. So, and there is like really discriminating words sometimes happening. So also another statistics, and over 28% of people with these disabilities are at risk of social exclusion at all. So I would say previously, 15 years ago, I would say people with disabilities, they were totally invisible. They were sitting at home, like in wheelchairs, for example, yeah. So, and they were not able to go somewhere or visit some, I don't know, cafes or something like this. The same was for digital accessibility, because not all the websites were accessible, not all the images had alternative text. So basically, if you have no alternative text for image, this means like only like blank paper for this person who is using screen reader, for example. This person can't access this information at all. Yes, and basically digital accessibility ensures that all the users have equal and inclusive access to information, products like services and environments, regardless their disabilities. And this means that all users should have seamless and uninterrupted access to all the products. Oops. And speaking about the European Accessibility Act, who knows about something about this act? Okay. So basically, European Accessibility Act or EAA is a directive which ensures that the products and services are more accessible for people with some disabilities across European market, and they are like basically fostering equal opportunities and social inclusion also in digital world. And it applies for both public and private sector. So, and the EAA timeline basically. So there was early implementation. The directive was formally adopted by the European Union. In 2022, there was a transposition phase, and all European member states were expected to transpose the EAA into national law by the end of June 2022. Also, speaking about public sector or governmental institutions, they should be already accessible, or at least they should have reports about their accessibility status. What is their actual situation, if they are accessible totally, or they have basically they have accessibility report. They should have separate section on their web page, and they need to inform, hey, we are already working on accessibility. We already fixed this and this and this, color contrast and focus order, for example, but keyboard accessibility issues we are fixing. If you have some questions, you can call, you can text us, and we will help you. For private sector, there is private sector, 2025. In June 2025, private companies, must ensure that products and services covered by EAA are accessible. So basically, but what does it mean? Products which will be released after June 28th, released, not before, but after, should be accessible. And it means that customers who has some problems with this product, they can basically feel some feedbacks to some institutions that this website is or this product is not accessible, and most probably they are discriminating me. So European Accessibility Act does not prescribe specific technical details of how companies should make their products, but those are basically recommendations that you should be accessible. This is they are providing common accessibility requirements, and those requirements are WCAG AA level for web content. As we know, also WCAG can be also adapted for mobile applications because mobile and web products, they have also similar UI components, that's why this WCAG can be adapted also for mobile products. So also, who is exempt from EAA? So which companies are exempt? So micro enterprises, like small businesses with less than 10 employers, or if they have an annual turnover less than 2 million euros. Those companies are excluded. Who does it apply to, and what does it cover, basically? Which, basically computers and operating systems, digital TV services and equipment, telephone services and equipment, self-services, terminals. Basically, by the way, in airports, these airports, this part of all the stuff which are inside this airport, they have their own accessibility guidelines, but this is also it means that also web solutions should be, and mobile should be accessible too. E-commerce platforms, banking services, passenger transport services, hospitality services, and e-books. Oops. And how does the European Accessibility Act impact the telecommunications industry? So first of all, telecommunication companies must ensure that they provide accessible digital services, like websites, mobile applications, online portals that are accessible to users with different capabilities. Those all should be accessible. Then telecommunication companies are required to provide accessible options for customer service. Basically, additionally, information about products and services must be available in formats accessible to everyone, like audio formats, like alternative text for images. Accessible feedback systems should be also in place. So, telecommunication companies must support various RTC or real-time communication features in order to people with disabilities to be able effectively participate in voice, text and video communications. We also need to remember that not all the people are able to call, for example. Some people with disabilities, they are not able to speak. They don't want to speak. Depression is also this is part of one disability type. So sometimes people are afraid of speaking with someone, and then better they will text or read some information. So we need to cover different types of communication. So by also providing accessibility training for employers, this is also something what should be done, I would say, because by educating employees and fostering this accessibility culture of inclusivity, telecommunication companies can be better in a way how to help people with disabilities. Because if a person doesn't know anything about disabilities, if this person maybe somehow can react negatively for this help because, okay, why you don't understand how to click on this button or how to find this. So sometimes it also happens, and we also doing from our side, we're also doing education. We were providing some education for development teams, and not only, but also for marketing teams, for example, to understand how to basically provide some information, how to help people, how to also sell some products for people with disabilities. Also, regular accessibility audits. This is also what we are doing on our daily basis. We have clients when basically this is good for big and small companies to do to understand what is current status of your product, if we are speaking about accessibility, yeah, and this is how some companies are also starting to work with accessibility. For example, you have anyone is working on accessibility testing or development, yeah, so you can ask for accessibility audit. This company will provide you scenarios and backlog of issues, and then you can start working on these basically defects. You can reprioritize those, and you can work, you can fix, and you can try to find solutions how to fix it better for your company, basically. And compliance. Compliance with the requirements outlined in the EAA is also is mandatory, and basically companies should provide comprehensive and create comprehensive documentation, regular monitoring of accessibility in their products. Yeah, so establishing clear internal policies. This is also about accessibility and reporting on accessibility progress and process. And if you have some, I don't know, some specific companies, if you are you are trying to find some people who can sponsors for your company, for example, yeah, and for your I don't know, potential unicorn, so they will ask you about accessibility report, how accessible your product is. And I had one conversation with one QA lead in one company, and he told that yes, this is the thing, because his startup was failed like totally failed in the US because they didn't know about accessibility. And when they went live, there were a lot of lawsuits basically from customers, and they were forced to close. So if you are working on American market, so this accessibility topic is already basically actual for them, and they are first who started working on accessibility. So EAA and WCAG. WCAG is Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And what is the relation between WCAG and EAA? Basically, the goal for both are to remove barriers for people with disabilities. But alignment, like basically, yeah, the EAA references WCAG as a standard for web accessibility and mobile, but not for hardware. How does it like work? Yeah, so basically, directive is like something bigger. Like yeah, they are asking for companies to be more accessible, but WCAG is part of this directive, which is recommending how. Providing recommendation how your web content and mobile content should be accessible. And our research, it's interesting. Basically, we did this research for 4 companies, telecommunication companies, Bita, Tele2, Latvijas Mobilais Telefons, and Telia. Which is also Lithuanian, working in Lithuania. So, and we selected 4 companies. We selected 8 screens for every company website, like homepage, login, internet, like I don't know, like how to check internet options. Yeah, then careers, contact page, help or frequently asked questions. Business page, e-store, and we were trying to looking for some phone and offers and promotions. Those, I would say, those pages are super, like P0s, super critical for everyone, and people with disabilities. They should be able to purchase something, to find information of how to work, how you are working, what offers you have, and how to maybe find job at your company. Of course, we are not discriminating those, yeah. And basically, testing criteria: WCAG 2.1, AA level. Not 2.2, because this is already official, but EAA still didn't. They didn't provide information that they are using WCAG 2.2. That's why some clients already asking for this new standard. They added 7 recommendations on AA level, but still companies who are going to be audited, they are asking for WCAG 2.1. Accessibility testing tools we used, of course, keyboard navigation, as I told before, yeah, physical disabilities or people who are using some specific software, and basically screen readers too. Basically, all this software is working like keyboard navigation. It means that every UI element which can be pressed, opened, which has some actions, yeah, basically it should has this keyboard navigation and this keyboard focus, and yeah. Screen readers, we used VoiceOver on macOS, and we used Google Chrome browser also, and code inspection. We checked area, basically area roles and attributes, if they are used correctly, if they are used. And usually we are also using code inspection if we have some defect and we need to provide more information. Maybe you have like some button which is not, information about this button is not provided that this is button, but this is div, and why it's provided like this, and sometimes we are checking also with code inspection. So yeah, other tools we are using also during testing, so like Bluetooth keyboards for mobile applications, accessible switch devices like this, Braille keyboard also if your product is working and information changes, for example, if it's working correctly. Voice control software, our customers who we are working with, they already started asking us for voice control software testing and eye control software testing. So this is pretty good news. But interesting. If in product are used some UI elements, roles are used incorrectly, it should not be working correctly with voice software and eye control software. And research findings. And we see, as you already know, I hope that WCAG has 4 principles: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And every recommendation has like a group in these principles. So basically, we see that the situation is pretty similar for every company. The most all the defects, like around 40% of defects were reported, and the principal perceivable was failing. It means that I would say color contrast is low for those program products. For example, alternative texts are missing for charts or images, and so on. So second failing principle is operable. It means it's really popular. We will check this on the next slide. Not all the products are accessible with keyboards. And still, this is something what can be checked manually during functional testing or before some release, also by developers. Maybe also not manually, but let's say this is something super critical, and this is something super easy for fix. But still, this problem is so popular, and yeah, I don't know why, but basically yes. Yeah. Defect examples. You see like poor principles, and you see like this. I'm sorry. But basically, example of perceivable principal defect. The keyboard focus indicator is not visible on any element of the page. It means that when user is trying to click through all the elements and he or she is trying to find out which element is active, people doesn't know at all, because this focus indicator is not visible. Am I at the top of the page or in the middle? We doesn't know. And expected is it's always visually apparent which page element has the current keyboard focus. Second, operable principle example: user using keyboard cannot navigate to frequently asked buttons. Super critical defect, I would say, because first of all, keyboard navigation, we can't navigate using a keyboard, then we can't navigate to some information or page which is used for information providing. So this is like home page, usually login page, home page, and informational or frequently asked questions page. Though they are like, those are 3 top pages which we should test when we are starting with accessibility testing. Error message is not provided when user has not provided email address. The field in error is identified only by color. Good practice is to have this formula like text, color, and some image. This means that we have some text field, we have red border, error message, and maybe some logo about we have here some error. So error message about required email is displayed next to email input. It will be super accessible, and yeah. The search button doesn't have a name and has an incorrect role of link. Super typical situation also during accessibility testing, and especially when this is super first accessibility audit, when you have, I don't know, search button, but the screen reader is providing go image. And sometimes you don't, and the user can't understand, search or go where? am I going to another page or another section of this page, the same page, yeah? So basically what we see, the same information should be provided, or a bit more information if this is like invisible label, for example, yeah? But basically, this is a robust principle example of the defect. Defect priorities, those are also, on our opinion, and after audit providing, we have call with our customers and we reprioritizing some issues because we sometimes have all the information about ongoing releases, like next releases or something like this, about plans for design changes and so on. And we see that, of course, middle defects are super popular, but we still have P1 defects. Like super big part, around 40% for every client, yeah? So we have like this P1 and usually P0s and P1 defects should be fixed as soon as possible because they are blockers. And examples of those defects, for example, yeah, P0 example, FAQ buttons are not focusable using keyboard. We are blocking those people of receiving some information. Navigation menu links open where user has focused on them and user must go through all interactive elements under that menu in order to proceed to the next menu link in navigation. This is accessibility P1 defect. So I'm not, I need to go like to another section. I'm not planning to go through all the menus and items, and I need to, like, I don't know, skip to main maybe, and I need to read this main information. The X close button has incorrect role of image. Screen reader reads close image. In this case, this is not P0 or P1 because at least we can understand in context that this is close and the image most probably this is button. But like the close button should has role button or link sometimes, but we remember, yeah, button triggers some action, links, we are going to another page. And sometimes you can check on Facebook or another social like companies, yeah. So most probably links are super similar to buttons. Like if we see like, okay, most probably this is button, but this is link. Okay, sometimes because we are going to another page to have to change maybe event information, yeah. And company that. Here will be 4 slides about company top failing recommendations. And this information is not included in our report. You can check our report on our homepage. This is accessibility white paper, yeah? But basically, this is more detailed information for every customer, but basically, as we see, most like top 6 or top 5 most problematical recommendations are the same for all the companies. Non-text content, this means that images has no alternative text. Color contrast are super low and it's not readable sometimes. Info and relationships. Super popular problem when incorrect heading structure. This is basic, yeah, you need to have one H1 and then H2, H3, like basically correct this hierarchy. This is failing all the time. Again, contrast minimum, yeah, that again, like potentially some text is not going to be readable. Keyboard navigation, not all the basically UI elements are focusable by keyboard. Focus order, it means that expected focus order is how we are reading from top to bottom, from left to right. Sometimes it's not happening. And name, role, and value. Again, every text field, every UI element should have like name, like name, role, text field, and value. Is it like empty or filled with some information, basically. Same situation with company 2. Also, they have focus visible failing recommendation, yeah. The same info in relationships, color contrast, keyboard, focus order, name and role and value. The same recommendations are failing. Company 4, again, the same non-text content, info in relationships, contrast, keyboard, focus order, and name, role, and value. Most probably, if you are testing, if you are planning something on your products, you can take a look at those recommendations. They are they are most failing in, I would say, statistically for all our customers, I would say. And key takeaways from our research that Baltic telecommunications companies are making notable advancements like in digital accessibility, and they know that they need to improve something, and they are working already on this. Despite advancements, like there are still they have significant gaps in accessibility, and major improvements are required to meet the standards of European Accessibility Act and ensure that a full equal access for all the users, regardless of abilities. And our suggestions, our team suggestions, I would say, address high priority issues immediately. We saw the statistics for priorities. Improve perceivability for users with visual impairments and screen reader users. This is something also super critical. Improve operability for users who rely on keyboard only navigation. This is also so critical, like basically screen reader and keyboard navigation, top two, what you need to check also from your side as accessibility expert. Conduct regular accessibility audits to maintain compliance, and provide accessibility trainings to teams to raise awareness. So yeah. Thank you so much. I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you, Elīna. I know this talk was highly anticipated. I know that from our initial survey, as you put your data in there, so accessibility was one of the top topics that was wanted there. And there are, not a surprise, a lot of questions. So let's start with tools, because you showed some like hardware, some like Bluetooth keyboards, Braille keyboards. What are other tools or software you use for accessibility testing?
Web extensions also, but just if you are going also to test with them, remember about false negatives and false positive results, and you need to recheck every web extension like Wave or inside like accessibility insights for web, yeah, and our team also we do a bit of automation. Usually this is Cypress and the X core library, yeah, for accessibility automation. But officially, this statistic says that only around 20% of all the actual scenarios can be covered by automation. This is not so much, and this is not cheap for companies, and so basically accessibility testing, this is about manual testing plus a little bit of automation, usually at least on this level and at this moment, when companies, not all the companies, they know about accessibility, how this can be developed, how this can be fixed, and how this can be managed, basically.
Yeah, you started answering another question already about the automation.
I know.
From coverage perspective, but let's put that from another perspective, like from specialist perspective, from tester perspective. What's your like work balance between like manual testing tasks and those automated tools that you can use for accessibility testing?
Yes, this is also a super popular question, of course. Yes, I would say that statistically 80% we do really manually, because we test really by keyboard navigation, voice, like screen readers, different screen readers, yeah, and really our feeling, and we see, this is our experience, that those web extensions, yes, they can help, but even when you have this report ready, you check through this report, and sometimes, okay, yeah, we have image, for example, test is passed, this image has alternative text. Then you are checking this alternative text, and this alternative text is QWERTY. We have automation passes, but in reality, this is not totally accessible. So that's why this automation, it a bit helps, yeah, really 20 or maybe 30%, yeah. But right now, when we are building this accessibility for digital products, this is about manual testing. I'm sorry, I know that automation is so popular. Everyone wants to automate, yeah. But right now, this is reality of accessibility testing.
Let's jump into some kind of another topic we covered already during other talks about user testing, about having workshops with actual people and seeing how they use the software. Are you conducting such workshops?
This is usability sessions. Like basically, there are three types: usability, user experience, and accessibility. And in accessibility part, we have those usability sessions. Sorry, yeah. And those sessions are separately organized by specific people. But I would say we have a separate usability team and people who are working on this. So we are focused on accessibility issues and testing accessibility. Accessibility is more technical, I would say. Usability also, but in this case, about sessions, we have separate people who are doing this. But yes, this is something. But usually also, I would say, clients prefer to do this not after accessibility testing or before, but after developing some features. I would say this is a bit different process.
Do you have testers with disabilities? Is it like maybe a trend that tester with disability is better accessibility tester than?
This is interesting question, usually, especially when we are speaking about temporary disabilities, for example. I can basically, I have bad vision, yeah, so -5, for example. I can put my lenses, contact lenses, and then try to test this with only screen readers, because in other case I will test, I will check these programs like this. But we don't do this. We know that some companies have people with disabilities in team, but the problem is sometimes that this person is providing recommendations, but not every time this person can feel all the technical stuff of this defect. We are checking also in DevTools and so on else, yeah. But this person usually in other teams and the client teams, they are as recommendations provider, and this is really looking like usability sessions with some specific group of people.
Okay, let's switch to that Accessibility Act a bit. So as this act is enforced next years, all products must be ensured to be accessible to people with disabilities. Can you specify what products exactly does that apply to?
We had this list during my presentation, basically. Yes, those are products. If your product is in this basically group, so you need to be accessible.
Okay, can we work around this act by registering a company outside of European Union and still having users inside?
Yeah, you can. Basically, you can try to register in the US, and you will get a super big lawsuit. But kidding. But also in Australia, almost every country they have their own accessibility act. Australia, United States, UK, basically Sweden already have. EAA is not actual for private sector in Europe, in whole Europe, yeah, but for example, Sweden, they have their own accessibility act already in place, so you need to check, of course, but But if you are registered in some country which has no this Accessibility Act, some Accessibility Act in place, but you are providing some products for Lithuania or Latvia or European country, you need to be accessible.
Okay, the next one is about testing early versus testing late. So would you include accessibility into features definition of done, or do you can like test the accessibility later?
Yes, please include it if it's possible. It will be super cool to include this at least on high level, that you know, all the UI elements should be should has like focus, receiving focus, and this focus should be visible, for example. Yeah, the same, of course, as I don't know, like product owner or business analyst, you should not provide maybe some detailed information of how to develop this. Of course not. This is not your responsibility. But I would say it will be great to have like some analysis inside company to check and to select some accessibility recommendations which are actual for your product and for your elements, and put like list for those. Like if you have button, it should be like keyboard accessible, focus wheel should be visible, name should be the same, like pronounced name by screen reader should be the same as visible on this button. Alternative text should be visible for image. I'm sorry. And role should be button, not div, not link, not I don't know, image, for example. Yeah, and you can put sometimes in user stories, you can put this link to this library or some instructions. So please take a look at these recommendations, like related with accessibility, if you have buttons here or something like this.
Okay, I know the time is up, but I still have one question that I would like to ask, because we discussed that before, and I would like to share that story. So I feel like this question is will hook that. So, should vehicle management app be accessible to blind people?
Which?
Vehicle management. So basically, imagine the app that you can rent a vehicle and use it, for example, for some time, and then check that out. So, should that be accessible to blind people?
Why do you think that this should not be accessible? Yes. Yes. My answer is yes, but if you think that no, think about why it should not be. Why you think that a blind person or someone can't use this program, like this product for other people, for example. For example, yeah. So also, we have Olympic Games for like Paralympic Games, basically. Yeah. Why? We think that, for example, like we have cycling for person with disabilities who are cycling. And other things.
Important point here to make is to not make assumptions about what people should do and what they should not do.
Yes, exactly. This is about, again, this is about discrimination. Why we think that we are not going to provide this access for people with any disabilities, like vision, like physical, mental, temporary, or situational.
And with this serious note, let's end this session, I would say.